Look at some of the impact on stage 6 load shedding. Joburg City Power says it is buckling under the strain of the constant scheduled power cuts. In a series of social media messages, they said yesterday that stage 4 power cuts mean the electricity infrastructure, which was never designed to be switched on and off repeatedly, is buckling. Substations also battling to switch the lights back on. Let's speak now to Isaac Mangena of City Power. Isaac, thank you so much for coming into studio. So you sent out these series of tweets, which were quite desperate. I mean, you explained exactly how tough load shedding is making it, because the system was never designed to be switched on and off. And is that why we're seeing situations, and this happened in my neighborhood, meant to have the power back at 8 o'clock in the morning, and it just doesn't happen?
Indeed, I think desperation, that's exactly where it is at this moment for us at City Power, because of the pressures that we're actually feeling due to this load shedding. I'm talking about from stage 2, stage 4, now we're at stage 6, and you can imagine what that it means for us. It means more problems for City Power, but it also means more problems by extension for our customers, because of it means that they will have to basically bear with us as we struggle to basically deal with some of the backlogs that we already had in stage 4, plus the inclement weather that we are currently in. The demand of electricity is very high, and also it means that we will have to switch them off. Stage 6 means that we will have to switch them off at least 3 to 4 times a day, which really, if you are running a small business, it might mean that you have to close. If you are working from home due to the new arrangements past COVID-19, it also means you may not be able to basically keep up with being at home when electricity goes on and off every 2 hours.
And is load shedding leading directly to more fault reporting?
Yes, indeed. With load shedding, there are a lot of things that are happening in the background, especially in terms of the network, but also even in terms of our operations. So in terms of the network, you've got a situation where we are dealing with rampant cable theft. This means that we will keep on cutting and joining cables to ensure that we keep the lights going. So with those multiple joints that we are putting in, when there is load shedding, the ons and offs that are happening, the switching on, when it happens, it looks for that, weakened spots within the cable, and that's when it pops, and that's where the problems are. But we also have a situation where most of our mini substations and transformers are actually blowing up because of this load shedding that is happening. But it also affects customers. When we switch on electricity, inrush current can just blow your micro ovens, your fridges, and your TVs, and so forth. So there's a lot that basically is going on. I'm talking about mechanical infrastructure here, but it's also taking a strain on human resources. We have to pull back people from leave. We have to basically, ensure that we patch here and there to ensure that overtimes are paid. Bring in more of the contractors that we're trying to phase out because of the financial implications that we have. So there's a lot of things that are happening because of load shedding. It does not really help us at all.
And you also make the point that during load shedding, that's when the cable thieves can get to work. And you said something that was like 26 incidents of cable theft since when? Friday last week?
Yeah, so basically the whole of this past weekend, from Friday until Sunday night, we had about 26 cases of cable theft across the city of Johannesburg. One arrest at least, but it's not enough, obviously. So you can see how many, and that was the time when stage 4 was actually ramped up by Eskom. So the thieves also are getting clever with us. We are stuck in between the rock and the hard place, because we have to notify customers at home so that they can plan their days properly. But at the same time, notifying customers, it means notifying the thieves that there are areas that will be off for the next 2 hours where you can basically start working. But we have already spoken to the law enforcement agencies to basically be on the lookout. We have spoken to the police, the JMPD, but also even ourselves internally. We have actually beefed up with more security resources to basically go to the areas that will be load shed, so that at least they do the patrols around those areas.
I want to get a sense from you how big the volume of calls is when you're in load shedding compared to not. You mentioned something about 4,000 calls to report outages. Over what period was that, and how does it compare to a time when there's no load shedding?
Look, it's actually 5,000 by last night. It was 5,000 by last night, the volume of calls that we had to deal with. And this is the backlog that has been happening from Friday, where we started to see, moving from 2,000, 2,500, 3,000, and now yesterday it was already at 5,000. So with stage 6, we might actually go to, 10,000 if that's how the numbers go. Ordinarily, we will have about 500, 700 outage calls. These are low voltage calls, individual calls where Sally will say, I don't have lights, but my neighbor's got the lights. And then when we come through, there's a cable fault here and there, and then we're able to fix. Or there's a smaller mini substation on a pole mountain transformer that has gone down that we just need to deal with. Now we're talking about medium voltage outages, low voltage outages that are happening due to load shedding. And it's partly because of the after effects of the load shedding on our infrastructure. Most of our infrastructure is old, so it cannot handle the pressure of being switched on and off at short intervals. Randburg was the hardest hit from Friday throughout the week. Most of the areas there, I'm sure most of the residents hate me.
Well, what I'm hearing you saying, it's astonishing, is that normally you'd have like 500 calls in that period. Now it's 5,000. That is up tenfold, and you're attributing a lot of that to load shedding. What is your turnaround time for fixing? Because, as you said, there's not a lot of sympathy, but you guys are actually working really hard. But how long does it take you generally to fix a fault?
Look, ordinarily, we have SLA, which allows us to basically fix electricity between 24 hours and so forth. Okay. So we always strive to ensure that we do that as quickly as possible. Our job is to keep the lights on. It's not to keep the lights off. So when lights go off, we also feel that pressure that we really need to make sure that those people have got electricity. So when we've got load shedding now, it's basically triple or quadruple all those kind of efforts. It stretches our resources because of now you have to divide the resources that you have between dealing with those calls and also responding to load shedding 2 hourly now with the stage 6. So it's just a lot
difficult one. You're also dealing with people who think you're not doing enough, but I'm hearing you say you're calling people back from leave, people who are already exhausted. What is the solution, Isaac? How are we going to fix this? Because the residents are fed up, and it's not necessarily all your fault. It's, as it's load shedding, it's infrastructure problems, and probably don't have enough people. What is the plan to fix this? Look,
the short-term solution that we hope happens is that Eskom and the trade unions at Eskom basically find each other, and they ensure that we deal with this one, and then people go back to work. But with us at the city of Johannesburg, we have invested 1.6 billion rands in this financial year to ensure that we deal with the backlog in terms of maintenance, in terms of the new infrastructure that needs to basically come on board, because we were the first to basically agree that we do have aging infrastructure. There's a lot of maintenance that was not done previously. But unfortunately, with load shedding, we are not able to do even planned maintenance. So it means even after tomorrow, if load shedding ends, we still have the backlog of trying to basically do the maintenance, proper planned maintenance that we're not supposed to do. It's like your car. If you don't take it for service, you will slip on your road to Durban. You won't reach there because of it will basically along the way basically get stuck. So we also have that situation with our substations, with our transformers, with our feeder boards and everything, that we need to basically constantly do this maintenance that is supposed to be done, and so that we are able to deal with the problems of outages, even also load shedding.
It's a vicious cycle because, as you explained, load shedding, of course, makes more maintenance problems for you. 1.6 billion rand. Let's hope that does make a difference. Thank you very much for coming into studio.
Thank you.
Isaac Mangena of City Power here in Johannesburg.